Hello there. I just want to take a minute to welcome you to English 387. I believe this is section 6. It is going to be the online section that I am teaching, and I just want to take a moment to appear in front of you so that you know who I am. If you happen to be around on campus and you see me, please do say hi. I'm recording right now from my office. Hopefully I'll get to see some of you in here throughout the semester, but just want to take a moment to, again, appear on camera so you know who I am. And yeah, I like to try to make sure that even for an online class that I'm providing a bit of a human touch to things. So I just want to take a moment to do that. So yeah, hello everybody. Yeah, I'll be in just a second cutting over to the stuff in the D2L class that we have and showing you through the website. But until then, I'm looking forward to meeting everyone on there and to having a good semester. Hopefully you all had a good summer. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you, even if just on the boards. All right, so welcome to the D2L page for our course together. You'll find pretty much everything that you need for this course in one of a few places, the first of which being over here. If you go into materials and content, you will see pretty much everything that you need, generally speaking. You'll find things in this section, including the homework document that I have put together for you. Let's see. Naturally, for me, everything looks a little bit different since I am in the professor view. Let's switch over to the view as student version of things to make this a little smoother, shall we? So we head into here. Things like the homework document you should be able to simply open up inside of a new tab. And when you do, you'll be able to see all of the things that you need to do throughout the semester. So if the D2L interface isn't doing it for you, then you'll be able to find everything you need right here inside of this document. This is something I always use to help keep myself organized, but this should mirror what's going on inside of D2L perfectly. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. Otherwise, I'll go over the course policy sheet in just a moment. And there are other things that we'll talk about once we get there, stuff like talking about the assessment scale, the projects themselves, which you'll find all of the materials already built in here for. We have a couple of external readings in here. And I've tried to make sure that I've also, for things like the homework document, linked to all those readings on here just to make things easy for you. So yeah, you should be able to find everything pretty easily right here in this content section. Otherwise, for the day-to-day stuff, if you go into discussions, you should, apparently, it's not live yet. I need to make sure I go in there and make it live. Let's change this back to the regular view, shall we? Because literally everything should be in there. Can't imagine why it's doing that. Oh, I can already see for some reason when I imported it, that changed. We'll get that working for you in just a moment. So I guess I'll accidentally be debuting everything in the course all at once. How very bizarre. But yeah, literally everything is inside of here. You'll find all of the discussions in here. I've made it so that literally all of them from top to bottom, save for one that I will be adding in a little bit later, the one focused on Lloyd Bitzer. That's the only thing that I have left that I need to add into the system, but otherwise literally everything else is in there, and that's so that you can get to it on your own time. You'll notice that I have listed on here everything due on either Tuesday or Thursday, but if you look here, you'll also notice that for each week, I have it set up so that the discussion things only lock on the end of the week, so August 30th for this week for everything that we've got going on. So essentially, things are only truly due at the end of the week, but for those of you looking to pace yourself a little bit better, I like to try to make sure I only have a couple of things due in a week, like if we had a face-to-face class. So I essentially still break it up like it's Tuesday, Thursday, and these say due on Tuesday or Thursday, but for these types of activities, not so much. I'll also do something when we get around to the peer reviews. Those are the only times where the dates really do need to be stuck to try to make sure people can get feedback on their work in a timely manner. But otherwise, everything's in here, and they're all due by the end of the week in which they say they would be due. So again, even the day one introductions, strictly speaking, you can still post them through Friday, August 30th without any issues. Let's see. So with that said, because I think that's the main thrust of things that you need to know, pretty much everything is here in this discussion section. The only other thing I'm going to make sure that I do is head into the content section here, and for us to go through some stuff about the actual course policies. Usually I open up with that, but that tends to make for a pretty long and dry discussion before you get to the stuff that you probably needed to know for the day-to-day. So let's dig into that now, shall we? So the course policy sheet. let's take a quick run through on there. So some basic things. So first of all, feel free to refer to me in your correspondence with me as either Dr. Custer or Jason. Either is good with me. If you prefer the more formal, totally good and happy with Dr. Custer, feel free to default to that. If not, I'm also totally fine with Jason. Because as I noted with my quick little spiel there at the very beginning, I like to try to make sure that I'm not too formal with a lot of what I have going on. Try to remain accessible and stay grounded. So as a part of that, totally good with just going with the first name. So whatever you feel the most comfortable with is good with me. As you can see here, this course fills the requirements for a lot of different majors, or at least has the potential to. So we're going to be focusing on a lot of larger scale concepts and applying them to specific facets of technical writing, and doing so in a way that I'm hoping will be accessible to, again, this wide range of different majors and programs that tend to take this course. Beyond that, course objectives, I won't bore you by actually reading those out loud, but they are there. The course materials, we're going to be using the book quite heavily since students have seemed to really gravitate towards it in the past. We're using the newest edition of Technical Communication Today by Richard Johnson Sheehan, who I usually just refer to in the materials as RJS because it's shorter, simpler, and for some reason Sheehan always kind of gets me when I'm trying to say it out loud, so I usually just go with RJS. So if you see RJS and TCT anywhere in my materials, those are just short for Technical Communication Today and Richard Johnson Sheehan. The book itself, get it as cheap as you possibly can. The 6th edition is a newer edition, and I have found places that have the idea of renting a PDF seems particularly odd to me, but you can indeed rent a version of the PDF for $30. I would not want to see you spend more than that if you go to places like Amazon and look for this book. Somehow it's like $80, $90. Do not spend that amount. If you're on campus, I have a couple of copies of the book on course reserves over in the library. You can go in there, scan the copies, use them in the library, do whatever you'd like with any of that. But just know that, yeah, the price on Amazon, contrary to the usual, is dramatically higher. I don't know what the bookstore is selling it at either, but try to get it as cheap as humanly possible. I don't like assigning more expensive books. I used to use the 5th edition, and then suddenly it became way more expensive because of the fact that it went out of print. So, yeah, I'm using the 6th edition somewhat reluctantly, but also I don't want you to spend too much on it. Let's see. So, learning online, I always add this into here. Really, it's because I want to make sure people know that some folks, especially if they've never taken an online class, tend to assume it's sort of the easy way of doing things. But while you won't be showing up for class, there is a lot more that you're going to need to do in your day-to-day work. Case in point for that, I make it so that the highest weighted item you have is the D2L discussions and posts and activities. So make sure that you're doing those because that will inevitably be one of the things that determines how successful you are in the class. And that's because it's something that I'm going to be asking you to make small things for routinely. And so the projects are going to be measuring a variety of other things, but I want to make sure that you're engaged in the online component of the class as completely as possible. That, and this is the grade scale that I use for both projects and the class as a whole, so we got that right there. Let's see, so statement on disabilities, again, between that and accessibility resources statements that I have here, if there's anything that you need any sort of accommodations for, make sure that you let me know. I would recommend getting a hold of the folks over at the Accessibility Resources Center on campus, so that way you have official documentation for anything you need. I'll certainly be willing to take your word at any accommodations you need regardless, but some folks may not be as flexible, so you may want to get in touch with them if there's anything you need particular assistance with. That and any cases of any sort of sexual violence or discrimination, make sure that you know what your rights are, make sure that you're taking care of yourselves, make sure you're getting in touch with any of these folks if you feel like you might have any reason to, and again, make sure that you're aware that those services exist. The civility clause, so especially because we have an online class and we can see what kind of how out of hand things can sometimes get when conversations happen online in other forums. In our D2L forum, though, make sure that you aren't doing anything that you shouldn't be in there. There's a good chance, the way that I always phrase it is that if you think something's probably inappropriate for my class, it almost certainly is. So make sure that you're conducting yourself professionally in this space. People will be able to see your posts and the content of them. People will see your projects through the peer reviews that we're going to do. So make sure that the things that you're doing are going to, that you're not putting anything out there that can be considered inflammatory to anybody in the class. Anything involving sexism, racism, homophobia, any offensive terms that you're using in there, particularly egregious profanity, any of that. Let's try to, again, it's an academic space and it's one we can all see. So let's try not to have any issues with that. I don't know that I ever have, but I like to keep this in here just so it's on the books. That, and of course, something else I want to make sure that I mention is that no matter who you are and what your identity is, I want you to feel welcome here. So if there's anything I can do in the process of the semester to make you feel more welcome, do let me know. Beyond that, email, make sure you check your email daily. I know I always do. Beyond that, you will see right here that I usually am checking my email between 10 and 5 Monday through Friday. Anytime I get an email outside of those hours, I may need to wait until the next day to get to it. So as long as you've gotten in touch with me or tried to, you're set. Don't panic. As long as you've tried to get in touch with me and you let me know about it, then you're going to be good to go. Fear not. But yeah, if anything comes up, just try to make sure that you're keeping me in the loop and let me know. You don't need to tell me everything that's going on. But if you need time, if you need accommodations, let me know. And of course, again, you might not hear back from me right away, but if there's anything serious, just know that you're never going to have to worry about me not responding because I'm not willing to help you out. That will never be the case. Let's see, assessment policies. So for the first 3 projects, I'm going to be giving you feedback intended to tell you what you can do to improve it. For the final 2 projects, it will be much more straightforward. I usually have, again, probably somewhere between 100 and 150 projects to assess in the last couple of weeks of the semester, so the feedback tends to be highly stripped down, but if you do end up wanting more feedback, let me know. That, and if the feedback that I'm providing isn't working for you, let me know, and I will be happy to explain things for you. And of course, if there's an accessibility issue, do let me know, and I'll make sure that I have you taken care of. Plagiarism, make sure that you aren't taking things undocumented from other places. Again, I rarely have issues with plagiarism, but I really don't like to have to deal with it because I don't like to have that kind of a confrontational relationship with my students. So yeah, just make sure that you're not taking things from other places without attribution. If it comes up, and especially if it looks egregious, I'll be talking with you about it and we'll figure out what happens from there. But at a bare minimum, it's going to result in a failing assessment on the project that you've turned in, and I might be able to or willing to work with you, but I make no promises. So yeah, if you ever have questions about plagiarism, do let me know and I'll be happy to answer them. Let's see, so syllabus change. Things might need to change as time goes on. Nothing major will change though, and anytime something does, I'll let you know. Beyond that, quick personal note here at the end from me. I won't read it word for word, but I wanted to make sure that I sort of covered some of the highlights here. Again, if there's anything that you need from me, do let me know. I'm always willing to be helpful, to be flexible, to do what I can to make sure you're successful in my class. That's all that I want. I'm not looking to give you a difficult time. I'm not looking to, push you in some sort of weird totalitarian kind of way as I've had instructors do to me in the past. I'm not here to do anything but help you develop as a writer and be successful in the class. So if there's anything I can do to help you with that, let me know. I do know some things, so for example, the actual language of my plagiarism statement is very strong, and most of my written policies are quite strong, but the reason for that is just to protect myself in the event that something goes amiss. The official policy is very strictly worded, but generally speaking, I am always willing to work with you if you need extra help, so please do let me know. Again, I always like to make sure I highlight this as well. Sort of my personal motto is that I can only make accommodations when I know they need to be made, so if there's ever anything I can do for you, just let me know, and I'm happy to help. Oh, and one last thing. This is something new that I added onto here, but I thought that it was important. If you are a first-generation college student like myself, meaning that you are the first person in your family who's ever been to college, just wanted to give you sort of an extra special welcome to the class, let you know that I appreciate that you're here, and that if you need any help navigating your way through the world of going to college, I didn't have any members of my family who went to college before I went myself. So yeah, if there's anything I can do to be helpful for you, let me know. And yeah, just wanted to make sure that all of you know that I appreciate you being here and that you belong here just like everybody else does. So yeah, I don't know that there's anything else that I need to cover in this video. I think that pretty much covers it. We got the course policy sheet down. In just a moment, I will make it so that you can actually see the discussions, so that way you can actually participate in them. Totally unintentional. I copied some elements over from an old version of the class, and that's one of those tricky things, is that even though all of these have the correct dates and times on them, you see how quickly it falls apart when one small weird part of D2L doesn't do what it's supposed to. So yeah, things like that may happen as well. So when they do, or if they do, let me know, and I will make sure that we get them fixed. Oh, I should probably mention this as well real quickly at the end here. So all of these, the way D2L works is a bit wonky, and so I have it set up so that posts will lock on August 30th, or well, not August 30th, but the Friday of each week, just so that way you have a due date that you can see in the system. But the problem with that is that then if you do it late, then you can't post it, all that good stuff. So that's part of the reason why I'm going to have everything available at all times, is that if you need to get to something, you should be able to post it later. So if you, let's say you miss the drafting or writing process activity and you don't post it in time, rather than emailing it to me and running the risk of me not getting to it on time and all that stuff, what I want you to do is to just do it anyway, keep it on the side somewhere in a folder or something like that, and then on December 1st, I'm going to be reopening all the old posts, and you'll be able to go in there and add in anything you missed. So you won't have to worry about that. And also, I auto-drop one thing per semester, but I don't put that in there at the start, because otherwise it gets really weird about what stuff you haven't posted and what it's going to excuse. So I'll be adding that in later as well. So yeah. Again, sorry about the weirdness here and about it locking everybody out and not letting you even see the discussions. They'll be there soon, don't worry. But yeah, welcome to the class. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And again, if there's anything I can do over the course of the semester to make your experience of the class better, don't hesitate to let me know. Then, oh, I guess the only other thing I didn't cover, close on this real quick, is, and I have it linked on my course policy sheet, my office hours. Let me just open that up real quick and we'll end with that. So, office hours for the fall. You can see the times that I will be here and in my office. Yeah, and also my email address, which you should be able to access me at pretty easily, and then also my office's phone number, so all that good stuff. But yeah, so these are my office hours. If you happen to be on campus, please do get in touch and let me know. If you aren't a student who is on the local campus or in the area and you need to get in touch with me, just get in touch with me via email, and we can set up like a face-to-face meeting online if you would like, do something digitally through Skype or whatever you want to use. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I brought this up as well. So, okay, I think that is officially everything. So again, welcome to the class. I look forward to working with all of you over the course of the semester, and yeah, here's to a great semester.